I've had some very unique personalities on this channel.
He always looks like he's sucking it when he's rolling.
But today that changes, as we have a self-proclaimed humble blue belt that wants to challenge me on camera. Meet Zach, a guy that gets most of his cardio work done by hitting the air, and a competitive blue belt who really likes the anaconda. Let's see how he does with me today.
I'm pretty excited to get this rolling with Tyler. I am going to take full-fledged advantage of his broken fingers, his knees, his shoulders. I'm humble enough to know that my 2 years of training is not going to beat his 10 years, but if I get a chance to teabag, I'll toss a teabag in there.
Boom, we're back and we have the world's most broken black belt going up against a humble blue belt, and I immediately decide to embarrass myself by pulling guard. The story as to why I'm not wrestling is pretty simple. Oil checking is a pretty effective technique, but don't let this happen to your fingers. My only one solution I can think of is keeping my left hand in a fist, but unfortunately that means I can't really do guillotines, so you're going to see new submissions from me this time around. But that doesn't mean I won't use the guillotine to sweep so I can get this crotch sniffer off my legs. But using the guillotine sweep and not choking with the guillotine creates a problem for me as he scoots out underneath my legs and he starts working into a leg entanglement. And as I try reversing my steps, he throws on a calf slicer, putting me into immediate danger. Alright, danger is a bit of a stretch because it's Zach doing a leg lock to me, but nonetheless, I am in a calf slicer and it doesn't feel too good, so I start turning out to the side. By turning my hips out, I've made it so it's a tough angle for him to finish, and it's a pretty good ass shot of him for the camera. Now typically to get out of this position, I could start pushing on his left knee, but I have a much better solution, and that's to go for a tailbone tickle. Now the oil check is a common misconception. All you really need to do is hit the tailbone. If it gets no reaction from your opponent, make sure you're not wrestling in a jail cell. Thankfully I'm at the gym, so it worked out well, Zach's on his back, and you may as well add that technique to your arsenal if you haven't already. Now for some real jiu-jitsu, I snap Zach's head so I can go into his guard, I sprawl out my legs, fish for an underhook, and start pushing his knee down to pass into half guard. I switch to flat half once I can get control over his neck, and I use my huge pec size to crush him in chest to chest. Then I switch my hips and it looks like it could be an easy way to knee cut, but instead I double down the underhook, going for massive control over his arm until I can throw in the 69 guard. Zach is frivolously trying to get his head out from underneath my crotch because let's be honest, nobody wants to be there, but I mess up by going to mount a little too early without securing his back to the mat, and now I gotta do all that passing crap again. But here's a better solution. If you don't want to pass guard, just fall back for a leg lock like this. Honestly, I'm surprised this submission worked at all since I couldn't grab his toes, but based on Zach's reaction, it was pretty effective. And check out this sweet back take I've been doing lately since I can't choke from the front head.
Yeah, it makes yourself look good on camera, huh?
It's a stylish way to take the back, and because you have momentum, it's easy to transition into the armbar or just pull him into the back control, but I will say, without having two hands, back control isn't as fun as it sounds. So instead of riding him from the rear, I'm going to ride him from the top as I transition into mount, looking for a head and arm choke, but I got a little lazy on my leg control and he pushed my hips out, and I gotta say it, he's kind of making me feel like a white belt. It doesn't help that I'm trying to pull out somebody's pubic hair from the mat out of my mouth, and Zach sees this as an opportunity to go under my foot, use an underhook, and start shifting his weight out so he can push me off of him, and he enters into another leg entanglement, and he tries to come up to take my back. But if his face is to go any further, he's right on my ass, so there's no way he's going to actually take this bait. We turn out, we reset, and I'm still choking trying to get these hairs out of my mouth, and I'm going to have to take the L on this one, and I return to sloth guard, seeing what Zach had cooked up for me. As he shoves my legs down, here's some BJJ technique juice for you. If I'm setting up an attack, I'll go slow and I'll put my hand close to them, but I don't want to touch them. If I touch Zach's ankle, he would know what I'm going for, so instead I wait for the right timing, elevate and scoop under his leg so I can go into a leg entanglement, then I can easily switch off into the knee bar. Then Zach tries to get me back with one of these. The flying toe hold is a cool submission, but I've seen it a few times in my life. But I have to get him back, so I hit him with a quick wrestle up and I have a lot more control than he did comparatively. Then I use some pressure passing to keep him flat on his back. I find head control and go up chest to chest. And Zach is continuously trying to bring his legs in so he can use butterflies to escape, but as he turns for deep half, all I do is just flick my leg out into side control. Surprisingly, he's trying to big dog me by wrestling up from a position where he has no control. But Zach threw a wrench in my plans as he rotated the other direction as he sensed he had no power there. To which I went back into side control, knee on belly, and he started to scoop underneath my leg. As he was trying to spin out, I went right back into the front head, and again, I styled on him with the same back take as before, and I threw him into a body triangle. Now Zach hasn't had a girlfriend for a while, so I made it my mission to satisfy him by sucking the life out of him with my body triangle, and you can tell on his face, he's really loving this. And when I tried to give him that same choking experience, he kept hand fighting, so I had to switch off from the body triangle into an armbar, showed off all my hamstring curls over his face, and I got the tap as I rotated to the head. Not wanting to look like other blue belts I've had on the channel, Zach is coming in with a little bit more heat this time around. He tries to pass my guard, and as I go to turtle, he attempts an armbar. I flick my shoulder just a little bit and I get this fly off of me, and now I'm on top, but it was a good attempt to see him going with all that effort. But it'd only be fair if I showed him some of my heat as well, so I drop down into an ankle lock and get another quick tap. I feel like I'm in a different universe because I'm not doing any guillotines, but something does feel familiar to me, is that when I go for a leg lock, I use the De La Riva to stand up, and I get him with a single leg, and I reach for the head like I wanted to choke him, but instead it works for a good takedown. I try and smother him and we have a good transition, but I gotta say something first. We're both looking pretty stylish because we both have X Martial gear on. You can get the same gear from their website at xmartial.com, and if you use promotion code Tyler10, you'll save yourself some extra money on the website. They gave me this custom guillotine gang rash guard, and guess what? It's made all my chokes a lot stronger. Power yourself up by going to their website, using promotion code Tyler10, and get yourself some stylish gear. Now getting back into the roll, we can see that Zach's going to survive a leg entanglement because he was able to push my left leg off of his hip, and I have to resettle into bottom. Zach is trying some advanced guard passing by stepping over my knee, but then this happens. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the hell that was, but we have to remember this is just a blue belt. I'm not going up against another black belt, so mistakes will be made, like trying to run on an invisible treadmill. All that running must have helped because he got his butt over my knee and he's safe until he starts to turn into a leg lock. I went for an ankle guillotine, but it was a cross ashi, so I know these aren't actually that tight, and Zach had enough balls in him to not tap for once to an easy footlock defense. But like a toddler running into a wall, he went into the same attack as he gave me an easy leg entanglement by trying to step over, and this time I was going for a lateral knee bar. You have to be really careful with this submission because it will completely ruin someone's life, so I took the easier method, brought his leg to the outside, and hit him with an outside heel hook to end the round.
I say I got a couple wins in there, a couple losses, but I'll take home my wins. That's more wins than Josh has.
You did a lot better than Josh. A lot better than Carson. Looking for my next blue belt challenger.